Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of the Koefiya Chronicles, brought to you by the Cape Malay Choir Board Youth Council. I'm Zahra Atas. Today we are in the home of Young Men's Chairperson, Mr. Adnaan Morris. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. So, Uncle Adnaan, I just want to talk to you about this badge. You see, we have a array of blazers here. Can you please explain to me the badge and how it came around?
Okay. The badge, I need to explain something to you. You'll see on the badge it says there that the club was established in 1938. Okay, so that's a very long time ago. And at the time of the establishment of the team, you can well imagine, the cell phones only came out in 72, right? So our people never documented anything. So the information that we have is all anecdotal. Okay, it's relayed from one person to another. And I don't know if you've heard the term Hollandse team.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not used frequently anymore, but it used to be the name for Malay choirs. Almal praat mos nou Engels, right? So at the established date, when the team was put together in the old dry dock, it was a Hollandse team. And our forefathers or parents, whatever you want to call them, our leaders that established the team, they sort of associated Hollandse team with Holland. That's why today, right now, there's a big drive again within the organization to bridge that gap with Holland. Because of obviously the legacy that's involved. We sing Hollandse liedjes. There's no Netherlands liedjes and almal daai. But it used to be Hollandse liedjes, and the badge actually stems back and reminds of that era when everything was Hollands. They used to say the Cape was Hollands. And it was all like a mingle, like they say now, as a potpourri, a mixed pot of all of these cultures and things. And the windmill, our badge, I think, is probably one of the most recognized logos or emblems. Anywhere you see people where they see the badge, they know. They just see the windmill and they know those young men. So it comes from that period, and we have made very little changes to it, because the badge, as well as the colors, are actually constituted in the Constitution of Young Men. So we sort of put that at a very high level, and we don't mess around with that.
Yeah.
That is our identity.
I can see, yes.
Yeah, we're very proud of it. So the only thing we really do is when we have a different color blazer, then we will adjust the colors. Like this one is maroon and white, that one's green and purple. Now green, purple and white are the club's official colors. That's the way it's constituted. So every anniversary year we'll have a blazer, and then we'll have the badge to match. But it will be the original badge, and you'll see it's the same on all.
Same, yes.
But when we make a New Year's Eve uniform, we put a modern windmill on and a modern badge, like we often do. But when it comes to the club's history and legacy, we must portray the badge that we're very, very proud of.
The identity, yes.
Yeah.
So, like Uncle Adnaan said now, the team is very well established. It's actually a team older than the board itself.
Correct.
So I just like to know, what is Uncle Adnaan's highlight with the Cape Malay Choir Board?
With the Cape Malay Choir Board or with the young men?
With the young men
With the
within
young
the
men.
Cape Malay Choir
All
Board.
right. Look, I was born into the team.
Yes.
Okay? Just like my children are born into the team. And I have a few good memories there. There's 3 significant things that stand out for me. One of them is the year 2011. That period, the team had a separation. We had another team that left us. Okay? And everybody said, they're going to be broken now. And that
You can
year,
mention the team if you want.
No. The year before that, we were about 80 odd members on stage.
Yes.
And that year, when that breakaway happened, we then gathered our forces together and we took stage that year. That was in 2011. And we fielded a team. We put a team on stage of 115 men. It was the first time that a team that size ever took stage within the Cape Malay Choir Board. That year, we also won the Silver Fez. We won the top 8. And the following year, 2012, we did exactly the same thing. Silver Fez and top 8. And then obviously in 2013, we won the Silver Fez again, but not the top 8. So that is one memory that stands out. Now, if we think about where we are right now, and this will probably come up again, the young men are going through a phase of rebuilding right now.
Yes.
And we all know the impact that COVID had on Malay choirs especially. It's a voluntary sport. People pay out of their pockets, you know. So everybody took a financial hit with COVID, and so did all the choirs. The result was that when we came back from COVID, the team was very small. A lot of the older members, they decided this is a good time for them to retire. So they retired. A lot of the youngsters went into other directions because we had a period of 2-3 years where there was nothing happening with Malay choir. So for me, another highlight in the history of the Cape Malay, of the young men, is when we came back now. Our first year we went back onto stage. Everybody said, young men, alles klaar. We must just throw the sand on them, they already did, you know. We came back and we struggled and we were consistent. We fielded a team of 32 men. Now imagine, in 2011 we were 115. Now we field a team of 32 men. But here's the thing that makes it a memorable year is we won first prize combined, and we won first prize Netherlands, and we won the highest percentage for Netherlands for the lead singer.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is another memorable event. And then of course, what will always remain with me is that in my career with the young men, I first took stage with the team, I think in 1984. What year were you born?
2004.
I first took stage in 1984, and that was my first year. And that year we won 4 first prizes and a second prize.
Wow.
Okay, so we went to the stadium, and we did absolutely nothing. We just stood dead still on the stadium. But that was before we introduced a new way of approaching the field events.
Yes.
But those are memorable, a few of the good memories. There's lots more, but I mean, we'll need a whole day to cover all of those.
So, it is the 81st anniversary of the board this year.
Yes.
So I'd just like to know, what are your expectations for the executive of this year, of how they can bring the board forward?
It's a very interesting question. You see, the Cape Malay Choir Board, the executive of the Cape Malay Choir Board, they have one fundamental task, right? Their core business is to host competitions and administer the organization, manage the teams. But what the teams need from them is a solid infrastructure that they know they have direction. So the teams have a task to do. So from my side, I look to the board and I say, when do we sing? What are the tickets going to cost? Where are we going to sing? Those are logistical issues that we need to know. Once we know that, then we can as a team go into operation. Okay? So stability and consistency is what is required. So we go through phases in the Cape Malay Choir Board. We are now in a different phase. This whole, what you guys are doing now, this stemmed from when the previous, everybody knows Mr. April, may Allah grant him Jannah, inshallah. But he was the president for over 30 years. And he had a specific way of working.
Yes.
But when he passed, the contingency was not there. So what happened was all the choir leaders came together and formed the ICC. And this youth movement that you guys are now sort of doing, what you guys are doing as the youth organization, stems from there.
Yeah.
One of the facets that we identified those years, and I'm talking about 2020, we realized then we need a youth contingent to take the organization forward, where youngsters can be primed to lead this organization. Okay? But with that, there were other things, and Mr. Munib Domingo, friend of mine from Strelitzia, this was his concept. The youth organization was his concept. We bred this thing there, but we never, when we then became the executive, we never had the opportunity to activate all the things that we wanted. Subsequently, it's changed. There is now a new executive, and they have the opportunity, because me having served there and seeing the difficulties on that side of the table, I understand that they need the space to do what they want to do and need to do. So we're very supportive. Young Men's very supportive of the Cape Malay Choir Board. We're very supportive of the youth contingent that is in place now. And we encourage it. But there are other things that also were initiated at the ICC that have not yet been activated. And that needs to happen. So, to you guys as the youth, there's so many lessons. My father-in-law was one. He was the president of the Young Men at one stage and the coach. And Young Men has that proud history. In my career with the team, there were 3 presidents that served. And all 3 of them were the coaches of the team. So he had a dual sort of role. I'm different. I can't sing a liedjie to save my life. But I've learned from the 3 of them.
Yes.
And one of the fundamental things, my late father, Buddha Moksin David's known as Max Space, he told me one day, he said to me, you know, when you work with a team like this, you work with, let's call it 100 guys, but every person is different, okay? So you need to be able to communicate with the guy that's doing an LLB degree, and you need to communicate with a guy that comes to practice every week and pays his 50 rand on his uniform because he's a plasterer, they pay weekly. So you need to understand who you're dealing with. So for you guys, like Uzair and them, Mohsin and all of them, the lessons that you learn now, it's important that you communicate and you understand the history of the organization. And that is critical. You can't appoint somebody to a job and he doesn't have the credentials. Correct? But here is where you guys earn your credentials. Now you know. Come to administration, you have certain people that are strong. Comes to something else, logistics, it's different. But the future leaders, you guys are the future leaders. So our faith is on you to remain consistent and make sure that things spoken about actually becomes a reality for us. Because this is what we want. We used to say, this sound is junk when we sang in the Good Hope Center. So what did the current president and I do? When we were on the executive together, we said, let's sort that out. We got on the button sound, best in the country. I mean, they do, like when Jonathan Butler comes here, he does the sound for them. He does the sound at the City Hall for Madiba, them and all. A pro. So we actioned that. So that's no longer an issue. Then they said, but the venues are this and the venues are our own complaints. We took the time to fix those. Yes. We sang in the Baxter last year. We're going to sing in the Convention Center this year. Good strides. But don't forget, there's other things that must still be done. And that is what I'm going to say to the youth and to the Cape Malay Choir Board executive. Never forget, you are now the executive, but you are a player. You are an active team member. You know what the shortcomings are for the teams. Implement it. Steal their hearts and make the thing right. Not much more I can say about that.
Shukran so much for your time, Uncle Adnaan.
No problem anytime.
Thank you for tuning in. Keep updated for the next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe.